letter when I was teaching them, but all of a sudden it clicked and now he knows. Isn't that amazing? I could have cried that day. That was amazing for me. All right, keep it going. Next we have just going into depth about all the different things that we should be knowing as teachers, and especially for a reading specialist. There's the very definition of everything. And first we have is phonological awareness. So phonological awareness has a lot of stuff within it, but basically is just an individual's awareness of sound structure of words. And going further into that, it's just made up of a group of skills that's just primarily focusing on phonemic awareness. And again, it just kind of recognizes that a word is made up of different phonemes. And phonemes, oh, that's a fancy word. It's not that fancy. Phonemes is just a letter. So let's say we have the word cat. Cat has 3 phonemes. C, A, T. And kids could recognize k, a, t, cat. Cat has 3 phonemes because it has 3 letters. That's very simple for us to understand. It took me a while to understand it until somebody broke it down like that for me too. But very simple for us to understand. Also, phonemic awareness has to deal with other skills such as rhyming, isolating the words, isolating the sounds together, blending the sounds together, and just knowing how to manipulate the sounds within words. Also with segmenting the word to kind of figure out the prefix, the suffix, the root word, base word, whatever you want to call it. That all ties into phonemic awareness. And there's a cute little quote there too that I found from my research. And it says, phonemic awareness is a good predictor on future reading and spelling abilities. That is 100% true. That quote was from 1995, which was 23 years ago. But you can tell how accurate it is, because if they don't have these skills very sturdily on early in their education, they're going to have difficulty early on. I'm sure you're seeing it now within your classrooms too. I have had a lot of teachers from just observing that I've heard them say, well, what did they do last year? What did they do in so-and-so's class? But they also have to keep in mind, they could have been bending over backwards for this child. It just didn't click. But, of course, getting that basis early on could have helped that student. But also, again, you have to kind of keep in mind that it clicks at different times for each child. Don't beat yourself up over it in case you're seeing it in your classroom, because it might have just not clicked yet for them. But just keep it in mind that keeping it early on, like in the preschool level and the kindergarten level, keep it working. Next, we have print awareness. And print awareness is just the ability to recognize the printed letter. I like to do this with different activities with our alphabet charts that I have over here too. You might see we started J. So we look for different words that start with that letter or make the sound of that letter. And what I also like to do is have them do a motion for the letter, for the sound. So for J, we pretend we're jumping rope. So we'll go J, 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 J. Just to understand the sound, also to recognize the print too. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. And also, we like to, of course, broaden the letters while the children are learning to kind of keep it going on, like how they sing the alphabet song. You want to kind of keep those letters in front of them as they're singing it, because if they could just memorize the song, that's easy. But for them to understand what they're singing and what they're saying, for them to realize that, oh, A looks like this, B looks like that, keep it in front of them so they understand what the print looks like of the actual letter. And at this stage for print awareness, children should also be aware that words represent spoken language. Of course, for them to talk orally, that's of course how they first understand their language. They should know how to hold a book correctly. I see some of my kids that kind of hold it backwards sometimes, or they'll have it this way instead of this way. But just to go back and just to correct and say, oh, I think you like the pictures better if you held the book this way. Because of course, they're not going to be able to quote unquote read yet. They might recognize some letters. But you can say, oh, I want you to look at the pictures, and I want you to tell me what's going on in the story. That way they also get creative and make up their own story. Sometimes it's funnier than the story that's actually in the book, but just to have them do that too will be fun. And then they also need to realize that if they are looking at the words, they need to notice that it goes left to right, not right to left. So for them to kind of follow along with their fingers like that too, just to even say like, okay, show me the words. Start at the beginning and keep going. Just point to the words. Also, they have to understand that words have different functions. Like for menus, we have words on menus for food, or we have words on signs, like a stop sign. Just to notice that like certain words are there for specific things. And the print awareness also has to lead up to letter sound knowledge and letter knowledge. Going up. The alphabetic principle, there's a little picture right here on this slide that just gives you the synopsis of what the alphabetic principle is. And basically the alphabetic principle is just understanding that the letters of what the letters are in the alphabet and the patterns of the letters represent the sounds that we speak. It also means that children cannot understand the alphabetic principle until they recognize and actually name the letters. I kind of facilitate this in my instruction already, but I also like to keep track of it with a progress monitoring tool that I realized they did not have last year. But it helps me to understand that the children are able to recognize a specific letter out of isolation, just not in the alphabet song every single time we sing it. So just to have that for them and kind of give them just a quick little thing. What's this letter? What's that letter? Just to see if they're actually understanding what the letters look like. Okay, there we go. My board's working. Okay, the next one is how to effectively teach preschool students. So us as teachers, what we can do for them. So far on my side, I have letter knowledge and letter sound knowledge, and I have how we can sort letters. Giving them just a little game. Sometimes Target Dollar Spot has a lot of these, or even just magnet letters that you might have laying around. Have them sort letters, capital letters, lowercase letters, even if they're different colors, have them sort by colors. They can recognize what letter is what color. Just something quick like that. Or even little alphabet books. My personal favorite is Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. That's a very great book for students to have. And also I have to help them connect letters to real life. I plan on starting an environmental print awareness unit starting up by the time we finish all of our letters around, thinking right now in March we should be finished. But to incorporate that, what I want to do basically with that is just give them each a letter for the week, and it could be their homework. It doesn't have to be a big thing. They go into little magazines and cut out specific things that have the beginning of that letter. So let's say if we wanted to do B that week, if they find a Burger King picture, they could put Burger King on there. If they see a Barbie picture, they could put Barbie on there. If they see a baseball, they could put a baseball on there. So it's just all within their environment to see what they recognize in their daily life to put into real life learning for them. Also, like I said before, use manipulatives like Play-Doh, Unifix cubes, even that wax string. I know there's a specific name for it, but I was going to say wax string. You know what I'm talking about. It has a little filament over it. It just bends the way you want it. Also, play games. Play games. I used to love when I had an alphabet carpet when I was student teaching. I would tell them, okay, come on down, sit on a letter. If you're not ready, I have to ask you what your letter is. You have to tell me the sound it makes and what object that you could tell me that starts with that letter. So it was very fun to hear what they would say, because sometimes they would get it completely right. They would give me such an elaborate word, or I have a kid that would just kind of look at me and go, I don't know. I'd say, okay, pick a different one, rotate. But it's just to see what they know and how much fun that they can have learning. And even sometimes their peers would try to help one another, and it would be really fun to see how somebody might take a leadership role on, but also who would be able to learn best from other students rather than me. Because I could say something as clear as day, but if another one of their peers says something, like literally the same thing that you say, you probably notice this too. If a student says it word for word the way that you just said it to their friend, they're going to understand it coming out of their mouth rather than yours. So, unfortunately, that is the way that it happens sometimes, but as long as they get it somehow, right? Another thing, especially at the preschool level, is to incorporate music and dance. My kids love music. They love to dance. With my curriculum, The Letter People, we do have a disc that has every single letter's song on it, so they know that Thursday and Friday we have dance day, we have our dance time. We play the song, we dance the song, we sing along to it sometimes, but they have to understand that they can't listen to that song until they master that letter. Because if not, we can be playing it every single day and all they'll want to do is dance. But that song I kind of use as a reward for them. I would like to incorporate it more within my instruction. However, my kids right now, they're just too, if I bring that song out, crazy. So we know Thursday and Friday are dance days. And also, keep it changing, like how I said with the books. Change things out. I like to print out little center games that I buy from Teachers Pay Teachers, and I kind of print them as like holiday themed or as season themed, and just to kind of keep it changing for them, but also keep it very educational and have them learning every single time. All right, going along with my curriculum, Letter People ties into Letter of the Week. They did not tell me within my curriculum guidebook what order to go in, so I right now am going in alphabetical order. But once I get finished, I'm going to go by based on the letters that how should I word this? I'm going to go based on the letters that have the easier sound for the students to recognize. So I believe the first sound that is easier for students to recognize is S and then A. I could be completely wrong, don't quote me on that. But I'm going to go based on a letter that I actually was given back in my undergraduate degree when I was taking my graduate courses for this reading program I'm entered in. I got a nice little chart that kind of went through how you should teach the letters. But of course, when I'm given a curriculum, you're expected to go by the curriculum. We got the speech back in undergrad. I'm trying to go based on that, but I'm going to kind of tweak it once all my kids start to master all the letters. So, the pros based on the Letter of the Week theme that they have. Pros is that you have a system. You know what's going to come next. They know what's going to come next, hopefully, and you can just do different activities with it. It also could be playful if you make it playful. Of course, when you're in preschool, you should make it playful. It's meaningful. They understand what's coming next. They know what to expect. They're not getting something thrown at them that they don't know, per se. There's a letter sequence involved there with their next bullet. And also, it's isolated and focused on one specific letter at a certain time. Many students might be appreciative of that, for them to learn that way. Others could be able to handle multiple letters at one time that I'm noticing in my classroom. However, I have more that like the isolated version, or I think benefit from the isolated version so far right now. Hopefully, once I get back to around March, I can do multiple letters within a certain week. So we'll see how that goes. The cons, however, there seemed to be a healthy balance between pros and cons. It all kind of depends on your opinion as an instructor and as a principal, of course, to see what you think might be beneficial for these students. The first con, it takes 26 weeks to learn each letter, but you're not also including holidays and school events. Right now, I'm supposed to be 26 weeks. I think it's going to be maybe push me to 30 based on all the holiday events we have going on. And then you have a week full of activities that students might already know. Now, the program I'm in, I have a 3- and 4-year-old preschool, so some of my kids were here for 3-year-old preschool, so they already know what's going to be happening with the 4-year-old preschool for my instruction. So they kind of already know, oh, Mr. B wears buttons, and he has his song about his buttons. Great. They're not really interested in it anymore, but if I'm trying to give some new information for them, some new manipulatives for them to kind of keep it engaging. Then you also have some that are kind of experiencing difficulties that you might not catch within that week that you're learning that letter. But, however, if you go back and you do the letter again, you might catch it, but you could have caught it earlier on. I'm trying to catch as many as I can. But, of course, you do as much as you can as your teacher. I understand that. But that is one con that I am noticing with it. I have some students that have the letter reversals like B and D, or B, D, P, and Q. The ones that look the same, I'm noticing them mix up their sounds and the shapes of the letters, especially when they're writing them. But of course, you work with what you got. And also, you can technically condense your instruction based on the sounds of the letters and based on the characteristics of the letters. And also, it saves you some time, so you could catch those errors sooner on. All right. But again, it's up to your discretion on your instruction. Lastly, I have a little slide there in case you have some parents or even some family members, some friends who are kind of wondering what to do at home with their children so that they don't fall behind, or that they help strengthen those skills so that they eventually reach success within the classroom. My first thing I have there is to read. Read and read and read. Seeing your child read words on a page to you with a pretty picture will help them become engaged with them, and of course, having them understand that the words are actually there for a purpose, they have a meaning. Also, to have incorporated a home library within your, somewhere in your home, or even if it's just like a little box that has all their books